election time in Jammu and Kashmir. I'm of course here in Srinagar with the famous Lal Chowk behind me, and of course you can see the Tiranga flying high. जैसे कि कहते हैं ना आंखें सेक ली. We are here. The fight really here is between Omar Abdullah's party, the PDP, and of course there is Sajjad Lone who has floated his own party, and there is an Apni party. So People's Conference, Apni party, National Conference, and the PDP. What is missing here are the two national parties. The Congress has aligned with Omar Abdullah and is supporting him in the India alliance. What is missing is the BJP. There is no BJP candidate over here. What Omar Abdullah of course says is that the BJP is fighting this battle by proxy. They are supporting Sajjad Lone and his People's Conference. He's saying if they were so confident of the Article 370 being removed and being such a great move, then why isn't the BJP here fighting the battle? We do see the odd poster of Narendra Modi saying Modi ki guarantee as we came up from the airport to Lal Chowk. But that's about the presence of the BJP. The face here still is someone from the valley, Apna face, which is of course Sajjad Lone. The high-profile battle is in Baramulla, where Sajjad Lone is taking on Omar Abdullah directly. It's a battle that is making headlines every day, really, at the two exchange charges. Sajjad calls Omar the outsider. He says he tells people in Baramulla that a tourist aa gaya hai. Omar, of course, says that he is the real pratinidhi, the real representative of the people of the valley, while Sajjad Lone is just a rubber stamp put up by the BJP. Omar's campaign really is, he says, if you elect me, you will elect someone who is your person, who will go to the Delhi as your representative. But if you elect Sajjad Lone, you will be electing a representative of Delhi. So do you want someone from the valley or do you want someone by proxy? So what I found really interesting, straight off the bat, my first impressions when I came from Srinagar, straight from the airport was, my last visit was I think in 2018 or 2017, before the removal of Article 370. As we came, we saw a lot of barriers, barricades, men with guns. Men with guns are still here, in fact, around me. But at the end of the day, the ride from the airport was smooth. There were few barricades. The shops are open. There is much more activity. We are seeing a lot of tourists here also. In fact, the luggage took 45 minutes to come because of the onrush of tourists, honeymoon couples, people. A lot of people from South India, from Kerala were actually on the plane with us. Everybody's coming here for a holiday. But election times, of course, it's another sort of holiday for us journalists. Much mayhem, a lot of hustle and bustle, lot of, I would say, the right optics really, at least here in downtown Srinagar. It is, something to watch out for, something I'm sure will be an election issue. We saw construction work happening, in certain places. Maybe the BJP is trying to make sure that its optics are right before it announces the assembly elections. It wants to do some kind of work before it can come and say what removal of Article 370 was really good for the infrastructure of the state. Whatever the reasons, there seems to be some improvement in the valley. So we just came down from Lal Chowk and we were going in fact towards Dal Lake when I saw something very interesting. It's called SWEEP, Jammu and Kashmir Sports Council. There were kids doing taekwondo, young girls practicing taekwondo, and I believe the motive of this is also to teach and inspire people to come and vote. They're also teaching them self-defense. So what is happening over here?
Ma'am, this is a set of, we have prepared a demonstration of our daily based routine, whatever we do at our training halls. So we are here to let people know that, to let them know that it's election time and we should just cast our vote. We should come forward to give our choices, whatever we want to have in our day-to-day life, what upgradations we need. So yeah, we are here to give that demonstration to provide people with the awareness of the vote on 13th May.
So you're also teaching them how to vote.
Yeah, like not how to vote, like how to kick.
How to kick. This is democracy with a kick.
Yeah, this is democracy with the kick. So,
So are you going to vote for the candidates or are you going to give them a kick?
we'll give them a kick.
I love that. Well, tell me a bit about yourself. You look like you're in school.
Yeah,
Old enough to vote.
I'm old enough to vote. I'm 21 and I'm pursuing honors in sociology at Cluster University.
So you're going to be voting for the first time or you voted in the...
No, I have not voted yet. So let's see what will be in the destiny, if I vote or not.
So you are deciding...
Yeah, I'm deciding right.
What are you voting for over here?
Actually, पर्टिकुलरली वोटिंग के लिए नहीं, बट ऑब्वियसली डेवलपमेंट चाहिए और हम लोगों को आगे बढ़ना है तो ज़रूरी है.
आप बताइए, जनरली व्हाट इज द मूड? डोंट टेल मी विच पार्टी, बट व्हाट आर द इश्यूज?
Yeah, there are so many issues here. If we do voting, we can elect our representatives so that they can decide our what our demands are, so that they can put forward these demands. That is the reason that we want to give people this message that they should vote. This is the main motive and cause of this program this time.
So issues are development and better representation at the center. Well, it's very interesting. We were walking through and we driving through. We saw this corner meeting. I thought it's a political rally, but it's a citizen awareness rally. Much better than a political rally, I would say. Let's go and see what is happening at Dal Lake now. Well, now we've come to one place that really signifies Kashmir as it is seen on postcards and on political decisions, the Dal Lake. I mean, this is, what I see, this Dal Lake is more like a political statement also, because on the surface it is very quiet and very peaceful. Quiet flows the Dal Lake, but underneath there is a lot of turmoil, a lot of strife, and a lot of political action despite the serene look on top. But joining me today is BJP spokesperson from the Valley, Advocate Sheikh Salman. He's the BJP spokesperson. Not a very enviable job, I think, in the Valley. Rest of India, good to be BJP spokesperson. In the Valley, slight problems, right?
Well, I'm not a spokesperson. I'm heading the IT department and I'm seeing to the campaigning department as well. So, and I just speak what my heart tells me to speak.
You're an actual spokesperson. You speak from your heart.
Yeah, very true. I can understand the scenario, I can grasp the scenario, and I can talk about it. That's what I believe I can do.
Okay, but BJP in the Valley, how do the people take you? Do they look at you with suspicion? And has the scene changed post 370?
Suspicion? I didn't get. What suspicion?
Well, the center is always seen as, especially the BJP, as someone. A lot of people in the Valley look at the BJP because this is the party that abrogated 370. So a lot of the locals feel that, while the move was welcome in the rest of India, the people of Kashmir still held some resentment. Or am I wrong?
See, it is not the people. It is 1% of people, I believe, and all these people are in the regional parties and they have some ulterior motives and self-driven motives, which is to, create a false narrative, false propaganda, because there is no other uh, anything they can offer to people. So they are, misleading people that Article 370 we need to get back, and I don't know how they're going to get back. And they are trying to politicize it and they are trying to make it a big hoo-ha about it. I mean, I don't know what was in the 370. If they can explain what was in 370, which was stopping them from development, which was stopping them from curbing the separatism movement and curbing the moment of Pakistan and curbing the corruption. I don't know what was stopping them from, if there was 370 or if this 370.
You're saying people want 370 back. That means there is some resentment that it was taken away.
It's not the people, it's the political parties, regional political parties. They want to see people are, we have like a population of almost 1.5 crore people. So I don't think some few thousand people or few hundred people represent all of these people,
Um, then why isn't the BJP fighting the election?
See, BJP is, I believe that political party has a fundamental aim and objective, and the fundamental aim of objective is the elections. I get that. I understand that and agree to that. But then you have to understand BJP is an ideological party. We works on the ideas, we works on the ideology, and we have been working on our ideology. It's not that we want to go into the power politics or we want to establish our representatives as a power politics. We have always, nation comes first, welfare of state comes first, welfare of people come first.
The only reason BJP won't field candidates is if it feels there's no chance of winning. We know Modi and Amit Shah. They are so electorally driven.
Well, this is a very generic statement, and then if they are so electric, we don't want to do fiddling about things. I mean, see, we have to understand what is our strength, where is our strength, and what are the strategies which will help us grow and flourish in the future. I mean, it's not something we want to do at the moment. It is a long-term plan. It is a narrative we're working on. It is the ecosystem we are working on. It is the environment we are working on. It is the mindset of the people. It is the ideology we are working on.
And you feel the center can help with all this?
Of course they can.
So you're not saying it, but it seems that your values and your aspirations match with some candidates over here.
No, I'm not saying that. See, basically, what is it? We are working as to strengthen the democracy. And to strengthen the democracy, voting is a very essential element of it. And we want people to vote and strengthen the democracy process, which was hindered and which was, totally into a turmoil from last few decades. So now we want people to flourish into democracy. We want people to attain that kind of that kind of a wisdom where they choose their representation by voting.
On that note, thank you so much for talking to us. In fact, on the way here, we stopped at a Nukkad drama or something. It was organized by an organization called Sweep, which I later on found out is actually promoted by the Election Commission of India to promote voting and ask people to come out and vote. So what Salman here was saying also, the idea is also to encourage democracy, encourage people to come to the ballot box and vote and see what happens to the Naya Kashmir and where it takes them. Let's go and find out what else is happening over here. Well, after speaking with a young man from the BJP, Advocate Salman, his task is not an easy one. Yes, the BJP has abrogated Article 370, a move that has been welcomed the rest of India. But within Kashmir, within the valley, there are still some people who are viewing it with suspicion, which is why, of course, the BJP doesn't have a candidate in these elections. So it's not really easy being a BJP representative as yet. For that, the BJP will have to try a bit harder. You know what Vajpayee ji said about Insaniyat, Kashmiriyat, Jamhuriyat, they have to win over not just, in terms of legislation, but the hearts and minds of people of Kashmir. For that, they'll have to bring in policy makers. They will, of course, have to bring in much more development. Part of it we can see is they've started already, but a lot more has to be done. Policy makers, the elite, the opinion makers, people on the ground, each section of society will have to have a different need and will have to be addressed and dealt with separately. There has to be a lot of work going in terms of just changing mindsets, changing hearts, winning hearts. So, the elections, I don't know whether they'll be held on time as per the Supreme Court's orders. Omar Abdullah clearly has his doubts, which is why he's not contesting the assembly but the Lok Sabha. But until then, the main work has been done in terms of as far as the BJP is concerned. They've lived up to the promise of removing 370. Now the real hard work really begins now. If they have to win over the state or the valley, Union Territory and the valley, then they will have to work a little harder, a little more showing goodwill and trust of the people. That still needs a lot of work. But anyway, let's go and see now what I'm told that Sajjad Lone is holding a press conference. He's the People's Conference candidate, and it'll be interesting to see what he says, and we're going to try and see if we can get a word with him. But anyways, let's go and see what the mood at his party headquarters is all about. Now we are joined by Sajjad Lone, President People's Conference, and also the candidate from Baramulla. It's been quite an exciting election so far, Sajjad bhai.
Yeah, it's good. We're working hard on the ground. I have been there for a long time, a couple of months. We're working on the ground, and it's been a tiring but a very exciting journey so far.
So what are the big ticket issues? Because from Delhi, we are told that 370 is the big issue here in the valley. But from you being a valley person, what is the big issue?
No, of course, 370 is an issue. It's still fresh in the minds of the people, and given a chance, they would always want it back. It's not that Kashmiris will ever agree to its abrogation. But there are other issues also. There are issues which confront people in the day-to-day lives. There are issues of development. Then there is issues pertaining to dignity of the people of Kashmir. I will sum it up like this, that you've taken the special status away. They would now want to be equal participants in the concept of India, not unequal participants or inferior participants. There might be a feeling that they're being treated below par, in the sense, in terms of laws, in terms of strictness, in terms of many other variables. They do believe that, if there is a law, it needs to be for every part of the country.
But, the campaign of the national conference is that you are as a proxy of the BJP. He keeps repeating this. So how do you react to that?
Mr. Omar Abdullah thinks that by saying this, he can create a negative perception about me and get votes. But I would just say that me being somebody's proxy does not make him a good person. So their party has been in power for 35 years. They have sent 9 out of 10 parliament members who have stayed in parliament for 28 years, a total of 27 parliamentarians. So I think he should defend those years in power and not attack someone like me who has been in power for 2.5 years as an MLA and a minister, and not with a very high flying portfolio, but animal husbandry minister. So there is not a lot that an animal husbandry minister can do in 2.5 years. That whatever is wrong in J&K is because of that person. So, and we have been in politics. From this party was formed by my father in 80s. We have fought elections. We've been victims of rigging in 1987, the notorious rigging of 1987, of which scriptwriter was his father and the Congress government at the center. Together they rigged it, which brought in the gun. And till now 100,000 people have died, and BJP and Congress included. Nobody gives a damn. Nobody has till now asked a single question that why did you have to rig elections in 1987? So the robber of 1987 has the audacity to raise fingers at people who have struggled. I fought in 2009 and uh, I forfeited my deposit. I was not a proxy at that time. Then we fought in 2014 and we lost by 1,50,000 votes. I was not a proxy at that time. Then we fought in 2019, right? And we lost by 27 or 30,000 votes. So statistically now we will win by 50,000 votes because we've been closing the gap with every election. So since I'm in a position to win this time, so now I'm a proxy.
But also, you are, I seen your campaign. You say that you are the insider and he's the outsider because, you have a house in Barrow.
I'm the son of the soil. He's a tourist.
He's a tourist.
Of
Well,
course
that's a very
he's a
strong word to use for a former chief minister.
But he's a tourist. He's a tourist. Just tell me, ma'am. He lives on. I used to live in Sanat Nagar and Handwara. We used to go. I have spent. My mother is from Sopore, so winters I would be in Sopore. Summers sometimes we would go to Handwara, to Harai, and then we had a house in Srinagar also because I used to study in Srinagar. So I can name 500 neighbors. Let him name one neighbor. He lived in the posh Gupkar. On one side, there was the IB headquarters. On the other side, RAW headquarters. And in front of that, Army headquarters. So all he has known through his life is Army uncle, IB uncle, and RAW uncle. No Kashmiri uncle. And then in class 5, he went for boarding. Then he stayed there. And then the RSS put him in, and the BJP government, in Vajpayee government, as a foreign minister. So where is the Kashmiri part? You tell me. If I am wrong, you tell me. When has he stayed in Kashmir as a youth? When has he seen the struggles of a common man? He has never seen them. So he is a tourist. And this is a rural area, rustic rural area. He comes with his own cup of tea, with his own tea, with his own spoon, with his own cup, tumbler, glass.
And what do you go with?
I go with nothing. I am one of the locals.
Okay, but what about this charge that you are, doing business with the BJP? Maybe because you heard the story that your wife went to Pakistan and she was not allowed to come back because there was
You
some.
see, the problem with you media is, you see, now Newsx always I've seen pro BJP, and when you
Hello,
come
hello,
here,
no,
when you
no,
come
not.
here, you are anti BJP. I don't understand this. Go and ask Farooq Abdullah why he rigged 87. For heaven's sake, he will tell you we did not. Give him evidence. Tell him how many people died between 2002 and 2008. Tell him, did he bring in the PSA? How many people have been? Why are you shooting questions at us? Because we are all status quoists. You all believe that it's the divine right of the Abdullahs and the Muftis to rule. यू आर अ पार्ट ऑफ द स्टेटस को कि उमर बेटा और ये बेटी यही रूल करने चाहिए. आपको हम जैसे आउटसाइडर्स और स्ट्रगलर्स के लिए कोई स्पेस लगता नहीं है. इट्स सच. अमित शाह भी जैसे वो बोलते हैं कि भाई वीजा के लिए, अब मान लीजिए वीजा के लिए, वीजा पासपोर्ट मेरा डिनाई किया था कांग्रेस सरकार ने, नॉट ये, फिर मुझे दिया गया 4 साल बाद. ऐसा कुछ नहीं. और जो अपना Farooq Saab, what he is saying, I would attribute it to old age. I won't use any other name, but he actually needs to check what he is talking about. Whatever he is saying is a bundle of lies. The period that he is talking about, that my wife was in Pakistan, she was in India. And the visa he is talking about, that has not been given till date. She is still on a temporary visa. So she has not been, that has not been given to her. So there was no quid pro कि आप ऐसा करो या वैसा करो. So, but problem is that, point is that we have seen struggle all our lives. My father has seen 10 years in jail. Then he was killed. I'm a struggler. I have struggled. And you come from Delhi and तुम ऐसा करते हो, वैसा करते हो. For heaven's sake, read history, read Kashmir. And to be very honest with you, when I just heard I am going to be interviewed by NewsX, मैंने बोला यार नहीं, इनको पता नहीं होती है कश्मीर की, इनको सिर्फ अब्दुल्लाज और उसका एक वर्जन पता होता है.
Which is why we've come to the second version.
No.
हाँ.
It's आप ऐसा करिए. You go and ask them. Do some research. How many people died during their time? How many Kashmiris died during their time? How many PSAs? Go and ask them that when he was with Vajpayee, like abhi ek choti bachchi, she interviewed Umar Abdullah and demolished him 1 hour. Made him say, he said that he was proud he worked with BJP. He said in that interview that had BJP, with Vajpayee, had he been alive, he would still work with him. Means that he has no ideological problem with Hindutva. He has a problem with probably Modi ji not giving him enough, space.
There's a difference between Vajpayee's BJP and Modi's BJP at the end of the day, but
Well,
that's
Mr. Vajpayee did reject the internal autonomy resolution. Did he or did he not? And Umar Abdullah yet continued to be in his government, didn't he? And Vajpayee, didn't he say on the floor of the house that if he had the majority, he would have abrogated 370? For a Kashmiri, this is enough. What else do you need? बाकी वहाँ मुसलमान इंडिया का हिंदू मुस्लिम का कोई डिफरेंट होगा, हमें उसका नहीं मालूम है, right? But overall, BJP always has been a right-wing party. It has never been a left-wing or a centrist, and it has always been in sort of a organization-driven, not personality-driven, especially in its history.
So, which at the end of the day, you also need to work with the center. Which central government has been good for Kashmir over the years? Which one would you say?
Not even one.
Not
None.
even one.
No.
Not even
no.
Gujral wala.
Gujral Sahib, he was a weak prime minister at that time. वो बेचारे क्या करते? Personally, he apparently was a great lover of Kashmiris. He was a very secular person, very liberal person. But then he was for a very short time, and he probably in a place like Kashmir, where there is a heavy influence of agencies and home ministry, and I probably wouldn't have been able to change things so much.
So, if you win this election, you're going to again look at me and saying, why am I saying if? What can you do differently for the people that Omar has not been able to do so far, or any other candidate?
From the ground, I'm from the ground. You'll have to wait for that. I have a clear-cut plan what I want to do. So, but for the sake of, for change, they've been there for 28 years. They have sent 27 parliamentarians, and maybe I'm biased, but let them tell us what they have done there. In the last 28 years that they've been there. 28 years they have spent in parliament. Let them come out. घोषणा पत्र होता है कि हमने ये किया वहाँ वो किया. Let them come out and say.
I like your slogan, development and dignity. You think that's the two planks that the people of
Dignity is also important, and so is development. Equally important. You see, development is what you give to Kashmiris, and dignity is how you give it to them. Do you give it with dignity, with respect, or do you just throw it at them? So I think at the moment they are throwing it at us. They need to treat us as equals.
last question, life after 370, how have you seen, because we are hearing, things like security has improved. Of course, there are the odd incidents, but by and large people are saying there are less hartal, there are less protests. Do you feel that somewhere this kind of a discipline was needed, or this kind of a move?
नहीं, मैं आपको एक बात बता दूं that as far as the security institution goes, nothing changed with 370. It was the same set of people who were running it and the same set of people who were running it. The rules were same. Absolutely, like NIA had jurisdiction. There was AFSPA was there. So there was nothing in 370 which stopped people from implementing law and order. Maybe the implementers were bad, but to say that law and order improved because of 370 would be wrong. Technically wrong, legally wrong. Yes, you can say that the implementers implemented in a better manner. That I can, or maybe implemented it with a lot of sort of, I can't get the word, more, they were not as soft as the earlier ones. You could say that, but I don't think legally anything stopped them when Article 370 was to implement law and order, to uphold law and order. So maybe the implementer used more harder strategies.
Delhi mein some people say tanashahi.
What Tanashahi means?
It means dictatorship.
यहाँ तो है. I don't know about the other parts of India, but here it's a total absence of popular rule, and I think it's high time the state should be restored. I would have loved to say Article 370, but as long as NDA is there, they won't, because they have abrogated it. But in the short term, they should immediately, even without a delay of a day, restore statehood.
So The assembly elections, are you any hopeful ke hoega? Have you any hope?
I would not be surprised if it takes place, and I would not be surprised if it doesn't take place.
Okay, last question. You said I'm a Delhi channel. So how do the people of Delhi should, how do I introduce you to the people of Delhi? Can you, what is Sajat Lone like? What is he?
I would have thought you should say that he's one of the few people who goes against the established parties, who comes without any godfathers. That he's here by virtue of a struggle. He joined politics not when his father came and put a turban around his head, but when his dead body was there with 50 bullets inside. That's where he started his career. Unfortunately, you will never see that.
Thank you so much, Sajat Lone, for talking to us and telling us your story. And we wish you all the best in the coming elections. Well, we're here back at Lal Chowk, but Srinagar by night looks pretty lively. In fact, if you look around, it is about nearly 9 p.m., 8:45 p.m. at night. The shops are all open. The streets are bustling. The restaurants are doing pretty good business. We just had some brilliant dry fruit milkshake over here. And people are, I'm told that this hall is a new addition, the sheds and the benches, so people can come, sit. A lot of songs and dances take place here also. Some theatre also happens, not tonight, of course. But clearly, it's a bustling city. I'm coming here, like I said, after 4 years, and I'm seeing a huge change. And let's talk to the people. आप यहाँ के local हैं?
जी मैं कारगिल से हूँ।
कारगिल से हैं। तो ये श्रीनगर में रात को आपको ये जो चहल पहल लग रही है ये
हाँ ये बहुत कुछ सालों से बहुत चहल पहल हुआ है, बहुत अमन आ गया है और बहुत सारे डेवलपमेंट्स आ गए हैं।
End of the day, I think what the people over here need is what people anywhere need: development, a bustling nightlife, shopping, education, water at home. The problem of electricity and water, we are told, still persists. There are huge amount. These are the optics. There are huge amount of issues that are still to be addressed. But by and large, let's see what the elections bring. Whether statehood is restored or not, that is an issue still, apart from other issues. But as I said, the issues are roti, kapra and makan at the end of the day.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.
आपने ये वोट इस पूरे कौम को देना है क्योंकि ये हम लड़ाई पूरे कौम के लिए लड़ रहे हैं।
The issues in the valley are a bit different from the rest of India in the sense that the narrative of Ram Mandir and caste survey are not heard here. The issues are local: restoration of statehood, security, regular electricity, jobs, education.
The locals point out that while tourism may have increased post 370, Lal Chowk is not the rest of Kashmir. There are still drive-pasts by the army convoys. There is a very visible presence of the army, though hartals and stone pelters have decreased. Perhaps one reason for this is that none of the national parties are contesting from the valley. For all its tall claims of normalcy post 370, the BJP is not fielding any candidate here. The Congress is also not contesting, though it has tied up with the National Conference. However, all the seats that the Congress has is in Jammu and not in Kashmir. There is a reason for this. Until now, the Congress has not yet opposed the abrogation of 370. In fact, the big ticket question is that this election is not just a Lok Sabha poll, but really it's being seen as the semi-finals for the Assembly. Who will be best placed not just to represent Kashmir in Parliament, but also to heal the valley post 370. As a former sitting Chief Minister and a third-term MP, Omar Abdullah has the governance track record. The Abdullahs are arguably the oldest political family the people of the valley have a connect with. In order for Kashmir to move forward, its past also has to be acknowledged. Who is the best place to do that? This election is also about that. the valley are a bit different from the rest of India in the sense that the narrative of Ram Mandir and caste survey are not heard here. The issues are local: restoration of statehood, security, regular electricity, jobs, education. The locals point out that while tourism may have increased post 370, Lal Chowk is not the rest of Kashmir. There are still drive-pasts by the army convoys. There is a very visible presence of the army, though hartals and stone pelters have decreased. Perhaps one reason for this is that none of the national parties are contesting from the valley. For all its tall claims of normalcy post 370, the BJP is not fielding any candidate here. The Congress is also not contesting, though it has tied up with the National Conference. However, all the seats that the Congress has is in Jammu and not in Kashmir. There is a reason for this. Until now, the Congress has not yet opposed the abrogation of 370. In fact, the big ticket question is that this election is not just a Lok Sabha poll, but really it's being seen as the semi-finals for the Assembly. Who will be best placed, not just to represent Kashmir in Parliament, but also to heal the valley post 370. As a former sitting Chief Minister and a third-term MP, Omar Abdullah has the governance track record. The Abdullahs are arguably the oldest political family the people of the valley have a connect with. In order for Kashmir to move forward, its past also has to be acknowledged. Who is the best place to do that? This election is also about that.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.